This is the Horse Radio Network. I'm Glenn the Geek from Ocala, Florida.
And I am Allison Renborg, and you are listening to the monthly Equine Affaire episode of Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Equine Affaire Episode 1. Good morning, Horse World.
It's the third Thursday of the month. That means it's time for the Equine Affaire episode, North America's premier equine expo and equestrian gathering.
Allison, we're so excited to have you here. Welcome to your first episode of Horses in the Morning.
Thank you. It's kind of thrilling. I'm not going to lie. I'm really excited.
Well, we've known each other for a long time through AHP. And, I have chatted over the years many times. And when we chatted this year, I was so excited. You were like, I think we should be doing something like this. And we just happened to have an opening. So it was perfect.
It was perfect. And it was funny. I'd been thinking about it before the conference, which was in May, I think. And I was like, oh, are you gonna do it? Are you gonna ask Glenn about this? I don't know. And I was very nervous, but you made it easy, of course, because you're easy to talk to. I mean, I think our first conversation, Lisa Wasaki introduced us at an airport.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yes, we were all waiting on our flights, and so we were chatting about Renaissance festivals and that kind of thing.
Right.
So.
You were a Rennie, right?
I was for 4 years, I want to say. Yeah,
that's about how long I stayed in it too. It was about 4 years. Where were you at the Renaissance Fair?
The Tennessee Renaissance Festival. So that takes place in Triune, Tennessee.
I've never been to that one. That's one I haven't been to. I've been to a lot of them, but I haven't been to that one. That one sounds fun.
It's really, really hot, if you can imagine.
Yeah.
May in Tennessee. It's hot, it's humid, and the time period is Elizabethan. So
lots of layers.
Lots of layers. I think I counted one year. I was very hardcore about my costume, and I had, I think, 14 or 15 layers on.
and they're all wool. That's the other thing.
Oh, yeah.
They wore a lot of wool back then. Yep. I remember those days. Well, that's very cool. Well, now we're here to talk about horses and equine events and expos and things like that. So let's chat a little bit about Equine Affaire in this episode every month. What we're hoping to do is highlight different people that you have that are connected to Equine Affaire in some way. But it's not going to be a big infomercial for Equine Affaire every month. We are getting these people on to actually help us with training tips and to learn something along the way, right?
Absolutely, because Equine Affaire is all about education. And I mean, that's sort of one of the, what the number one rule in the horse industry, right? You're never done learning. So that's really what we want to bring you, is sort of a taste of Equine Affaire every month in this episode, so that you can go, hey, I learned something cool today by listening to that episode. So that's kind of our goal. We want you to learn cool things and hear about maybe new people that you haven't heard of before, or that you haven't been to a clinic by before. So that's really our hope.
And who do we have coming up today?
Yeah. So since this is our first episode with Horses in the Morning, we wanted to start off with Coagi Long. She is our president. She bought the company in 2018, but she has been working for the company for many years. So she's going to share a little bit about the history of the event, sort of an overview, and then give us a little preview about this fall, because we've got an event coming up in November. And then after Coagi, we're going to have Steve Lantvit. He is a general horsemanship clinician. He's also a ranch horse guy. So if that name rang a bell for you and you're a ranch horse person, that's probably why. And he's going to share tips with you about eliciting true collection from your horse. So getting your horses to really carry themselves up underneath you. And then finally, we're going to have equestrian and professional trainer Lorie Duff from Canada. She's going to join us to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is communication with your horse. So not just what can you tell your horse, but what is your horse telling you?
Very good. Well, let's get it started. And first up today, I asked you to do this, was bring on Coagi Long to talk about a little bit about the history of the event and how it's transpired all these years and how it's changed and grown and a look at some new things coming up. Well, hi, Coagi. Thanks for joining us today.
Why, hello, Glenn and Allison. It's wonderful to be here, and thanks for having me on the show.
Well, I wanted to welcome you to the show, too, because you guys are taking over this spot on Horses in the Morning, the longest-running daily podcast in the world. And we're so excited to have you join us because, Equine Affaire has been a part of many of our lives that are listening to this right now.
Yes, absolutely. No, I think this is going to be a wonderful partnership. We are thrilled to be here with you and can't wait to see where it takes us.
So, Coagi, I remember we went out for the first Equine Affaire in Ohio.
Started in Ohio in 1994 was the first event in Ohio in Dayton. And we were in Dayton for 3 years and naturally outgrew that facility rather quickly and then moved to the Ohio Expo Center in 1997. And we have been there ever since. So going on, well, I think we've been there more than 25 years at this point. And our Massachusetts event started in 1998, as I mentioned there a minute ago. And this will be our 24th year there this fall. So long running, I guess, event expo, and we're pretty proud of it.
You should be. And you got involved in 2018, is that correct, as president?
As president, yes. In 2018, I actually worked for the company beginning in 2003. Started kind of in our marketing department and worked my way around all the different departments and worked my way up. And when the original founder, Eugenia Snyder, was ready to retire, it just kind of was a natural fit to take over the reins and keep steering the ship, you might say.
I'm going to ask you a tough question for the president of the company. What makes
Sure.
What makes Equine Affaire unique in your mind compared to the other, what seems like 1,000, expos out there?
Sure. Well, I think part of what makes us stand out is that we were one of the first ones actually created in the United States. And from that, we built it from the ground up in terms of listening to what the attendees want and need and kind of catering our show to really bring the industry together. I think we have a wonderful blend of both education-oriented presentations to a vast trade show, and we also mix entertainment and competition in there with it. So I think we've carefully kind of made our blend, and we're constantly tweaking it, but certainly hold ourselves to high standards, and we're always evolving and trying to make it the best that it can be in the whole country.
We were the first show actually to talk about COVID at the early days before it even became mainstream news. We were warning everybody about it. And that had to be a scary time for you guys, and glad to see that in the past, I'm sure.
Yes. Seeing it in the rearview mirror is definitely a great thing for us. It was a very challenging time. I won't deny that it was scary at certain points of it too. Going almost 2 years without holding an event is a really long time for a company that's small in our nature in terms of having the number of employees that we employ, and but big in scope in terms of the impact on the industry. So it was a trying time. Fortunately, we have an amazing team of staff members who really kind of helped us out in trying to do whatever they needed to do to help the company really carry through that challenging time. And we were ready to come back when COVID was allowing us to do so. And we really just kind of came back with a big bang. Had 2 fantastic events, one last fall in Massachusetts and another one in Ohio. And so we're excited to keep that momentum going.
Were you surprised at the pent-up demand, or did you expect it?
I kind of expected it, but it was hard to know exactly what was going to happen. I know a lot of people still seem to have reservations, but the horse industry itself, I think, is pretty resilient, and they were more than ready to get out and get back and do what they love.
Let's be honest. They were just ready to spend their moldy money that had been sitting around because they hadn't been to an expo to buy anything. So that's
it's a wonderful way to do that for sure.
Especially Massachusetts right before Christmas.
Yes, certainly.
Was Massachusetts timed that way to be right before Christmas? Was that in the thought process?
That kind of helped, or kind of came together that way. Obviously, we had our Ohio event in the spring, so we didn't want something that was too close to that from a production standpoint. And based on the way the dates fell for availability at the Eastern States Exposition, that's kind of how we landed in early November. So it is great timing for the holiday Christmas shopping season. But at the same time, from a production side of it works very well for us too.
Where does it go from here? What do you have coming that you can talk about that's new, different, exciting, than we've done for 20, 30 years?
Sure. Well, this fall, I think we have a great lineup of clinicians. We have a good variety of some new people that have not been to the Massachusetts or any of our events before. That would include, let's see, we have Nona Garson coming to Massachusetts for the first time, Bill Warren for dressage, Jane Carroll for dressage as well. Mixing some Western dressage in there with Leslie Lepardo. Karen Black will be doing reined cow horse. Michael Gascon will be doing easy gaited horses. Ty Evans with mules. Caleb Carinci-Ash with a lunging presentation. And then he's also quite a daring act in Fantasia. So he will be one of your thrillers that you'll see in our evening show. And a variety of other kind of seminar and demo presentations as well. So I think clinic lineup, we have our headliners that some people may have seen in the past, but it's been a while. Jonathan Field will be coming from Canada. We'll have Pat Pirelli, Steve Lantvit, which will be on the show a little bit later here. And Scott Purdom and Lorie Duff is also a new presenter for us coming from Canada. So there's some great things coming in the educational program, and also some great opportunities for people to ride with one of these professionals if they are interested in applying. So really our educational program is kind of our cornerstone, and something we really put a lot of thought and effort into preparing for each event. But then there's also other fun stuff in the mix as well. For this year, we're excited to partner with the ASPCA's Right Horse Initiative for our adoption affair. And we've hosted our adoption affair for a few years in Massachusetts now, but this year we're actually partnering with the ASPCA, and we're also going to showcase the horses for sale and for adoption on Thursday and Saturday at this event. So they will have time in the Coliseum to show people what their horses are, what they can do, and give them just a little bit of a better idea of what they are out of the stall, rather than just seeing them in the stall. So I think that'll be a great new addition on that side of things.
I could...
And the breeds and...
I could geek out on this for a long time, because we've been, as I said, I've been going to these for a long time. And it's been interesting to see the cycles. There's been a cycle with expos. For a long time there, it was the same 5 clinicians doing all of them, right? You guys kind of led the way in saying, hey, we have to break that bubble. We have to give people something different, something new every year. You also were one of the first ones to go, hey, we got to bring English into this too. Because for a long time there was only Western clinicians, and then you guys again were the leaders in trying to diversify that out, and that's important because it could stale otherwise.
Right, exactly. No, there's always an evolution in the equine industry, and we're constantly trying to keep tabs on what's coming, what's new. Obviously, Western dressage and liberty seem to be a very popular topic right now, so we're proud to have that included in our programs, and yes, we're always trying to really look at ways to bring the whole industry together. It's ways for us to learn from other disciplines and other clinicians, take bits and pieces and apply it to your own riding, and see what formula works for you.
Absolutely, because it's really fun when people come to Equine Affair and they're looking around and they realize, I see this where I could take this little piece of advice. So maybe they're walking through the trade show and they see one of our little clinics and they go, oh, I'm overhearing this great tip from a dressage clinician, even though I ride Western, or they ride dressage and they overhear this really cool tip from a ranch horse clinician. And I think that's what's so cool about Equine Affair, is that there's all that cross-disciplinary stuff happening. And it really is sort of the epitome of, but it happens in like a few days. It's really concentrated. And I think that's what's so fun about pulling all those different disciplines in there, like liberty, like side saddle, like mules, and that kind of thing.
Well, we're excited to be part of it, and we're hoping to get there this year. We'll maybe have more announcements on that a little later in the year. But, I was so excited. I've known Allison for a long time, and I was so excited to chat with her and to get this rolling, because you're the one expo that if they were going to be part of Horses in the Morning, you're the one we wanted to be part of it. So I'm very excited about that.
Well, we certainly appreciate it, and we're more than excited to be with you here and making it all work.
Well,
So
hopefully
let's
we'll
go
see
for
you
it.
in November in Massachusetts.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Coagi. Appreciate
You
it.
and everyone else.
Yep.
You're welcome.
So this is Allison, and I just wanted to drop in with sort of something you might not have heard about Coagi before. She was an active competitor in horseback riding. She's been doing that since she was a child. She actually earned several awards in college while riding for Findlay, including 3 consecutive IHSA titles. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And these days, she competes in dressage still, and she trains and breeds warm bloods at her farm in West Mansfield, Ohio. You're invited to join us in West Springfield, Massachusetts at the Eastern States Exposition on November 10th through the 13th, 2022 for Equine Affaire. Elevate your equestrian experience by attending 4 days of educational horse clinics, sessions, and demonstrations. Enjoy networking with fellow horse lovers, shopping the largest horse-related trade show in the East, participating in immersive horse activities, watching exciting competitions, and a whole lot more. Tickets are on sale now at equineaffaire.com.
You have 5 months to get your credit cards paid down. That's what I got out of that. All right, who's coming up next?
So next we have Steve Lantvit. He is a versatility performance horseman whose training program is based on trust, gentle hands, and a true partnership with the horse. Hi, Steve, and welcome to the first episode of the Equine Affaire podcast with Horses in the Morning.
Hey, Allison, how are you?
So what are you up to today? What did we pull you away from?
I'm pretty much the same guy all the time. I get up early, I watch sunrise, and I feed and saddle horses. I'm hands-on, so I'm very good cleaning a stall, sweeping an aisle, and feeding everybody.
Oh, that's what I want to hear.
That's my.
Can you come over tomorrow?
My morning routine all the time.
We need some help. Can you come over tomorrow? That'd be great.
Absolutely not. I'm strictly on my property only.
Okay.
I lose that skill as I hit the entry gate. But I'm pretty good here.
So that's the definition of hands-on horsemanship, right? You clean the stalls and you ride the horses.
You know something? I had a gentleman that worked for me for years, and he had some health issues. He left, and we just started doing it. And you know something? Strangely, and I like it. You know, like this is my golf. So I went to school for architecture, but obviously I don't do that. My mom always says, I work so hard, and I always laugh. I said, if I had more money, I just have nicer equipment and better horses. I still do the same thing, except I trade in tractors every year instead of waiting every 3 or 4. So same boat. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. So I have to ask you, I think Glenn would kick me if I didn't ask you, you went to school for architecture?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
What?
The reason being, my mom's a teacher, and she made it very clear that cowboys do not get a paycheck every Friday. And
she wasn't wrong.
I was going to pick a career that was making sure I was going to get a paycheck every Friday, and that didn't pan out because I became a contractor and I was a builder. And when I married my wife, Jen, the whole time through that, I had horses and trained, but it was more of for myself and things like that. And then after I got married, my wife, Jennifer, said, if I'm going to do this, I better go do it. So that sort of gave me the little push, and here we are now.
She didn't like paychecks every Friday, apparently. She's like,
No. She had a good paycheck every Friday, okay. So her husband was allowed to go and try to figure out how to get one.
So, that's a good woman. That's a good woman right there.
You betcha.
Don't let her go. Don't let her go.
No.
Okay.
Now, if I can only get her to clean stalls, and then I can do it, but for some reason I can't train her to do that. So, but she does make me breakfast every morning, so I can't complain.
No, you can't, man. You got it good.
There you go.
Okay. Well, I had to ask, and I think that's fascinating. And I love that your wife is the one who pushed you to do horses, and then we're lucky enough to learn from you now. So you're here today to talk about Equine Affaire. You're here to talk about being one of our general horsemanship clinicians and ranch horse, right?
Right. Yep.
Very cool.
We've done it. I think I've been there, done Massachusetts a couple times now, and Ohio, I think three times in Ohio. I think this will be my third time in Massachusetts.
Nice. Yeah. So we're really looking forward to that. That's going to be in November.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
we can't wait to have you back with us again. It's going to be a little colder than it is now.
The last time I was there, I left Texas. I left 90 degrees. It took us 3 days to go from West Texas to Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
And I loaded my horse at 90 degrees and unloaded him at, I think it was 10. And
my gosh.
see, he looked at me like, what are we, crazy?
Yeah. I'm not living here. You're not leaving me, are you?
We're not. No, I stuck it out with him. And then on Sunday, there was a horrible storm that was coming through. And I looked at my wife, I was exhausted. And I said, I love you. We're not spending the night, load up, we're hitting the road. So it's every time we've done it, it's always trying to get out underneath the wire before what is it? You guys have those nor'easters or whatever you get up there that just sort of, well, they're not great. I'll just leave
Right. Yeah, they're not great. I'm a girl from Tennessee. I've been to our Massachusetts event twice now, and I'm always shocked at the weather up there. I'm like, oh wow, this is not where I left. No. This is not where I left.
No.
So we're obviously excited that you'll get to join us. Hopefully it will be warmer than 10 degrees in November, but with the weather the way it's been, who knows? But something about Equine Affaire that we really want to talk about in the podcast is education. And we want people to learn things. And all of our visitors are going to learn things from you in November. But I was hoping you could share a little bit with us about collection. I think that's the topic that your wife said that you wanted to talk about today.
Right.
So can we talk about it? So Glenn is more of a horse husband. He shared
I married this 30-some years ago. So
there you go. See?
He's got a good woman, too.
There you go.
That's true.
So give us the layman's explanation of collection. What is it?
Well, you know something? I'll give you the layman's version of collection, which would be, an engaged hind end and elevating the front end. Okay, mm-hmm. Riding the horse from back to front versus from front to back. But the reason, we'll bring it up is when we started doing this, I started training and we would do different clinics and then it sort of grew and we did a little bit of ranch versatility and competed. And now we started to do some ring cow horse stuff. And I'm upping my game and I'm trying to train along the way. And I think you have to constantly get better. But what you really need to do is, put a recorder around a bunch of trainers, okay? Mm-hmm. Don't let us know you're listening. And take us to a show into the loping pen to warm up, okay? Mm-hmm. Because at that moment, we're seeing everything, and you only hear little phrases like, oh, good God. Oh, God, please stop hanging on that horse. I've gone over this with her I don't know how many thousands of times, but they're not doing it. So... And it goes on and on and on, and stuff I can't even repeat on air, because for some reason I think collection is the one thing that is probably every horseman, no matter what discipline you're in, you're seeking it, you're after it, mm-hmm. And it's the one thing that probably eludes everybody, because you could always get a horse to stop. Okay, we've all heard, "Whoa, damn it!" Okay, damn it's most. Damn, it's the most well-trained.
He's ridden in the cart with me before.
Exactly. I've heard you. Okay, Glenn, I know what's happening out there. Damn, it's just trotting off too fast. So you all, whoa, damn it, and he stops.
That's
okay? Right. But we can't always get the collection part. And you know something, I look back on it even through as myself as the student saying, I just turned 51. And I think I'm pretty smart. At 41, I knew I was smart. And my 51 self looks back at the 31 self and says, well, he was sort of an idiot, but he meant well. And my 51-year-old self looks at the 21-year-old self and says, my God, why did you not kill us? Because I was riding anything that showed up in a barn because I saw John Wayne the Cowboys, and I know how it's done. Okay? So... we're trying to educate ourselves along the way. And this is the thing that even for us trainers, that we get it. But as the years go on, we get it better and better and better. Okay. So the collection, like for me, in terms of how I even coach my students, and I know this because I've had students that have ridden with me, and then I might not see them for 10 years. They've done a clinic, and I do something, and they come up and they're like, "Oh my God, that's totally different." So, like with the collection, how we're doing things now, and not that I've changed so much, but we're putting a lot of emphasis on lifting and elevating the shoulder. Versus keeping the hands down. I definitely don't rock the bit. Okay. We're trying to gain that horse's trust. So he literally comes up through your seat, through your pelvis, elevates that shoulder, rounds the back, engages the hind end, squeezing the legs and things like that. And I watch those riders, and I could close my eyes and go back in time, and it was myself. Rocking the bit to say, I'm shaking them off of it. And I know there's a bunch of horses that probably wished I was a much better rider 30 some years ago than I was, because they weren't. I would always say, God, it's such a stupid horse. And I realized it wasn't. I was just such a stupid kid that I couldn't get them to collect. So I think in terms of like collection, that's the thing that I coach to my students all the time, for canter departures or lope offs, for getting a horse to spin, for rundowns, for circling. And it's really about elevating the shoulder and getting that rider to open up his hips and lift that horse with that hug coming through his calves, so that you could feel that horse literally rise underneath you. And I think the coolest thing is if I do a good job in explaining it, and I get that rider to understand when we don't release so quickly that we scare the horse by dropping the bit out of his mouth, that we allow that horse to sort of follow it down and say, okay, here you go, partner. This is where I need you to be. When all of a sudden the rider's face, you can see that light bulb moment sometimes goes off, and they're like, oh, I got it. And I'm like, yeah. And then you see sometimes it's just a dim light, and they look at me, they're like, did I get it? And I'm like, do you think you got it? And they're like, I don't know. I said, if you don't know, you didn't get it. And they're like, really? I'm like, if you're asking me, we didn't get it. So I think this coolest thing is, because then once that rider starts to truly understand it and feels that lift, and all of a sudden that, the gait changes. It's not a flat. I call when I see horses do it where their head's down, but the rider thinks they're collected, the lazy teeter-totter, where I was always a big kid. So if I put my kid sister on the other end of the teeter-totter, I could just keep her hostage, just up in the air, and that's a lot of horses. The rider works all this time and getting the head down, and you could tell they're so proud of what they've achieved. And this is where you microphone us trainers standing around in a circle inside that loping pen. And we're all like, oh, God, I'm going to have to ride that horse for another half hour just to get that shoulder up again. I don't know how he did that. He took 30 days and just washed it right down the toilet. But you got to get that shoulder up. So a lot of it is just trying to get the rider to understand it, understanding the release and that collection. And I think the lift. I think if I had to pick one thing that I've changed over year, I started riding in my teens. I'm allergic to horses to this day. But I started riding, it was I was always able to keep my hands down, and now I ride around lifting. So I think that's a little different.
So one thing I want to, when you're talking about the light bulb, when the rider feels collection for the first time, I was flashing back to a time, the very first time I felt a horse actually collect, like I succeeded.
Right.
Once you feel that, you never forget what it feels like, and you're constantly chasing it. So It really is an instant of, you have to do it to understand how it feels, and then you have to go, wait, how did I do that? And then that's training, right? But yeah, it really is a light bulb moment of like, finally, the horse did what we were doing. We're doing it. And then you lose it. And then you're like, oh, but
you got to get it again. There's some horses that just offered up so easy, and other horses that don't. I think every good trainer every good trainer is a student. And so when I was having trouble, I'm like, all right, I need help. And I picked up the phone and called, and before I knew it, and other good trainers they're the first ones to be like, yeah, get over here. And because there's something about coaching to your equal or a peer that makes it a better clinician, makes a better trainer. And being coached too as a trainer clinician makes you a better student, and therefore makes you a better trainer as well.
I love how you described two clinicians coaching each other. So coaching an equal or a peer, it's also more fun, right? Because you guys get to talk on a totally different language that you both understand. It's more elevated. Well, I hate to stop you there, but we're almost out of time. So I wanted to say thank you for coming on and for sharing that. I think I learned a lot, and I hope our audience did. And Glenn, I'm sure you learned about collection, right?
I learned that he probably wasn't allergic to architecture.
Right.
I was. Honest to God, my butt would hurt. The more I sat behind the desk, the more it would hurt. So we stopped it. I just can't do it.
Thanks, Steve. What's your website?
You can go to stevelantvit.net or just look up Steve Lantvit Horsemanship, and it'll take you to our website. And then there's links to all of our different sponsors and everything on the bottom, and it'll tell you the times for the Cowboy channel and our own channel and stuff like that.
And
perfect. And we'll have that link in the show notes too.
And
awesome.
We had Steve last on Horse Radio Network 12 years ago, so I guess we'll talk to you in another 12 years, Steve.
You got it. I'll be 63. So, all right. You keep driving. Oh, damn it! Hopefully, he learns a better stop by then. So.
Equine Affaire's musical celebration of the horse Fantasia is returning to the Eastern States Exposition for 3 spectacular performances on November 10th, 11th, and 12th of this year. Sponsored by Absorbine, this year's Fantasia features bareback vaulting, drill team routines, reining, fast-paced driving, and exciting performance featuring Icelandic horses and more. Tickets for this beloved family tradition are on sale now at equineaffaire.com, and seats sell fast, so get yours today. I see in there fast-paced driving. My pony was known for bolting. I could probably come up and put on a really fast demonstration.
I bet you could. That I would pay to see that.
I'm not
Glenn.
saying it's safe for anybody in the stands or in the ring. It'd be interesting. It'd be good for video. Good for TikTok.
Yeah, you could be a TikTok star.
I could. All right, who's coming up next?
All right, so our next guest is Lorie Duff, and she is an internationally renowned Canadian equestrian trainer and clinician. She's also a Canadian provincial equine judge, equine business consultant, and motivational speaker. And just like Steve, she will be joining us at Equine Affaire in Massachusetts as a headlining general horsemanship clinician. Hi, Lorie. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Now, you're Canadian, you're up in Canada, and today you're not at home. Tell us where you're from, where you're coming from today.
Oh, hi. Yeah, no, I'm actually calling you guys, or we're doing the call, and I'm out on tour, and I'm really happy about that. My base is in Ottawa, Ontario, and I'm actually on the east coast of Canada right now doing a horsemanship training presentation, and I'm doing some private training and starting some horses out here.
Well, that's really exciting. It sounds like it's torture for you, though. It sounds like you're not having fun at all.
No, actually, it's a really special event this year because this year is Come Home Year in Newfoundland, and I'm originally from Newfoundland. Now, I've been gone for quite a long time, but I'm sure happy to come back and see some horse-loving fans and show them and let them experience a little bit about my horsemanship.
Yeah, and you get to do it at your home where you were from originally. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah.
So we are looking forward to having you at Equine Affaire this fall. And I understand this is going to be your first time presenting with us.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. And it's such a great opportunity because there's such a great format with fairs such as Equine Affaire, which I love because it's a diversified event where you have a different group of people that are presenters or clinicians like myself, and you get a big variety of people that attend. So they get so much from it, as we do as well, the clinicians and stuff, because you get to meet so many different people. You get to help so many people. So I love that aspect. I've been to a different few places in the U.S. and I absolutely love it. And I love getting an opportunity to broaden, I guess, my scope of people that I get to help with horses. And I think as a clinician and a presenter this year at Equine Affaire, I'm going to have some riders and some participants throughout the weekend with me. And I'm really excited to see their progress.
That's the thing about Equine Affaire, and the thing about clinicians like you is you love to educate, and Equine Affaire is all about education. And something that I was hoping you would share with us today is a little bit about learning better communication skills with our horses. So could you explain, what's your heart or philosophy behind communicating with horses?
That's a fantastic question. And, I say this quite often with a lot of different people and different events and stuff, that sometimes we are all doing the exact same thing. What I mean is, as horse trainers, educators, coaches, mentors, anything that you're doing, you're always trying to help or better yourself, your situation, or your student. And I find that in my learning a little bit more about myself and in being able to take some of the life lessons that I've learned with horses, with training horses, and turn it into a nice philosophy of horsemanship. And it's I want to say a little softer side of horsemanship in regards to my approach is really more about helping the participant or the horse owner with what they're struggling with, about what they don't have, or the knowledge that they need to have about their horse, their equine partner, and help them get past that struggle. So that's a little bit different of what I work with people when I'm working with them. So my philosophy really does detail working with the horse owner and helping them see specific things like body language and helping them understand what it is that horse is communicating to them. As I do that, I give that horse owner that knowledge, then we kind of grow their relationship, them and their horse together. So, yeah, I love it.
When you talk about growing the relationship together, I was just thinking, it really is a relationship. Even if you have, a dozen horses, you've got a different relationship with each of those horses and you relate to them a little bit differently, right?
Oh, absolutely. I tell people that all the time. Your first ride is your last ride. It's your best ride ever. And my horse, my older guy, Maverick, he was my best teacher and still is to this day. He always kept me looking for a better way to handle not only situations or training opportunities, but to be a better person. And I think that I try to really relate that to people for them with their horses, and for them to look for those successes in their relationships, not only just the technical part of it. Absolutely, we all want to advance as horse riders, or to educate ourselves about the technical, but I also really love to see people get on a deeper connection, a deeper level with their horse, and a better understanding.
Can I, let's back up a little bit to body language. So what's the mistake you see people make the most when it comes to recognizing horses' body language?
Yeah, that's a great question. Sometimes what I see so often is that we're in such a great hurry to have that moment end. And it could be something so simple as just haltering your horse and taking your horse for a walk. From the paddock or pasture to the barn, from the barn to the riding arena, whatever, even just riding. It's such a simple little thing. I think that a lot of people, I find personally, are rushing past and seeing and wanting the end result of whatever that is. So if they want their horse to stop at their side, or if they want a horse to get through a doorway, or whatever it is, they want to see it finished. But me personally, I like to be able to help them understand that if you just slow down just a little tiny bit hey, did you see that swish of that tail? Did you see that ear flicker? Are you listening to your horse's breathing right now? How high is the horse's head? How low is it? How fast their pace is? And those are one of the most important moments that we have. And sometimes we miss it because we just want to get it over it, right? I see a lot of people, just even haltering their horse, and the horse is chewing on the halter, or the horse is bumping into their space or knocking their cowboy hat off, whatever the case may be. And they're just kind of rushing to get the halter on, instead of saying, hey, this is an excellent opportunity to train the horse to do it the way I would like to see it finished. Like a finished horse for me, in regards to something like that, is, one that will stand steady and quiet and be a willing partner and an understanding partner and not get in your space and so forth. So when I'm starting a young horse, when I halter it for the first time, I want to halter it like I will in 20 years. So that in 20 years, when I go to halter that horse, it's nice and quiet. I've stopped and I've taken my time and I've made sure that, when I lay the line up and over and I'm actually attaching it, clipping it, or tying the rope over, that it's nice, it's consistent, it's steady, and my body language, feeds back to that horse. So little tiny things like that. And that's really a lot about, as I said before, when I'm helping people with their horses and I'm teaching and I'm training, I'm really focused on the horse handler more than I'm on the horse. I want the horse handler to see what I see that horse say to them.
You know what, though? Isn't that kind of a mirror of today's society?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure. And you know what? That's one of the things that I love to teach people as we go through a day or two of getting to know each other and getting to know each other's horses, and just you're in a moment when you're doing that stuff, and especially in a clinic setting. And I love for people to understand that the horsemanship I'm teaching them is not only to make you a better horse handler or horse owner, better rider. It's when you go to get in your car to leave to go home, you're a better driver. You're a better partner at home for your husband or your wife. You're a better student. You're a better friend. You're more accountable about your moment that you're in your life.
I love what you just said. I love that idea that being in the moment. So we're not thinking about what's on our phone. We're not thinking about what's on Facebook. We're not thinking about what we're having for dinner later. Being in that moment and using
Don't
our
go
powers
too
of
far. I'm always
observation.
thinking about what's for dinner later. So let's not get crazy here.
Okay. So you can have part of your brain think about steak for tonight.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got food on there all the time.
The other 95% of your brain is, how's my horse breathing? How's my horse, how's his body moving? That stuff really gets to me because it's so easy to wish time away and go, oh, I just want to ride, or I just want to, I just want to go do this and then get out of here. And it's like, no, your horse is right with you. Like, cherish this gift, this moment, because so many people want horses and don't have them. Whatever it takes to remind you that this is special and that you need to pay attention, not to mention the whole safety aspect, right? Of like, hey, you're with a 1,000-pound animal and he could move in any minute. But
absolutely. Yeah. No, and it's so important too that, I mean, as you're saying that, you talked about that there, Glenn, just for a second, and said, we don't want to forget about what we're eating. One of the techniques that I use when I'm teaching someone, because I want to see the participant, the handler with the horse, get perspective and distance with their horse, and I'm measuring it all the time. And I'm measuring it in such grave detail as I'm watching them connect together. I watch, something in the behind of me, the back of like a riding arena, and there's a sign or a letter like in a dressage ring. And I say to that person, hey, relax, what are you doing tonight for dinner? And they'll laugh. And when they laugh, their shoulders come down just a couple of millimeters. And I say to them, hey, I just saw you do that from, 20 feet away, or, 10 meters, whatever it is. And if I saw that change in your physical body, guess who else did? And they go, oh, wow. And so there's such a great understanding. But I always do that. I always say, hey, what are you having for dinner tonight? And people laugh.
In all fairness, though, that's all my pony thinks about, too. So,
well, true.
I don't think he's in the moment either. I think he's just thinking about food. So,
yeah, well, they do. They definitely don't think like us. That's for sure.
Thanks for bringing me out of that moment, Glenn.
Lorie, we're running out of time. Where can people find what you do and follow you?
I'm on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I have a website. It's www.libertylanefarm.net. And there's a tab there. You can scroll through my events and my locations where I am from month to month, week to week. And you will definitely see it there very soon. The news is going to be coming out, the newsletter, that I'll be at Equine Affaire in Massachusetts this November 2022. And I'm so excited to be with you guys.
Well, finally, the Versatile Horse and Rider competition sponsored by Nutrina is returning to Equine Affaire in Massachusetts this fall. On Friday, November 11th, up to 25 pre-selected horses and riders will compete for $5,500 in cash and prizes. Would you like to join them? Apply to compete by visiting equineaffaire.com today and filling out the VHRC application form. The deadline to apply to ride in the Versatile Horse Rider competition is September 9th, 2022. I only have one question on this. Are clowns allowed? Like, I could go as a clown. Would that be okay? Have you ever had a clown in this competition? Because
we haven't had anybody in costume, but suddenly that just sounds like a brilliant idea.
Go as a knight or something, and really spice it up a bit.
I love it. I think the crowd would love it.
It's
too.
Versatile. That's versatility.
That's true.
I'm not quite sure that's what Nutrina had in mind, but we could make it interesting.
Well, and it could be an obstacle for the horses, right? Because they got to deal with you being
clunking around up there.
Which is terrifying, Glenn. Exactly. I don't know.
Me with a lance, that's terrifying, yes. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us on this first Equine Affaire episode. We hope you learned something along the way and that you enjoyed this. We're going to be back here. It's the third Thursday of every month talking about Equine Affaire, and we're hoping to put something together for the fall. We'll have to announce that next month. We need to work on that a little more. But hopefully we can have some listener meetups up there and have a good time. Now, I lived in Massachusetts twice. Both times I lived there, we had the biggest snow years in history. The last time I moved out of Massachusetts was after 92 inches in one winter. So I swore I would never go back to Massachusetts. I would never step foot on that state again. And here we are.
Well, now I'm a little scared that I invited you, because what if you make it snow?
It could be bad. It could be very bad.
I don't know about this. Did I say you could come? I actually
changing your mind all of a sudden, aren't you?
Let me backpedal a little bit more. No.
What's the website again where everybody can find all the information?
It is equineaffaire.com, and that is affair with an R-E on the end.
It took me 10 years to figure that out, by the way.
It takes a lot of people a lot of time to figure it out.
What's going to happen in the future? If you want to find all the past episodes of Equine Affaire here on Horses in the Morning, you just go to horsesinthemorning.com, scroll down to the middle of the page, and all our Tuesdays and Thursday episodes have a little icon there. You click on it, and it'll bring you to all the past episodes, and that one will be up here when this show comes out. So you'll get all the future episodes in there as well. For auditors, Allison is going to she's agreed. She doesn't know what she's getting into. She's agreed to hang around for the auditors in a post show. So we will have a post show for you today for our auditors. Those are our super fans. If you want to become an auditor, just go to horseradionetwork.com, click on the auditor banner, and for as little as $3 a month, you can join 500 other people in their super secret Facebook group, which is very positive and upbeat and is a super place to be. And you can also get the post show, which we try and do every day. So that we're hoping that you join us for that as well. Thank you, Allison. You were terrific.
Thank you. You were terrific, too. And I'm excited about the post show. All right, everybody. We will see you in November at Equine Affaire.